TOA community, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everybody, how are you all? Robert Linkle, trainingtheolderadult.com. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to get on here and talk to you today about a new article from colleagues of mine, the Institute of Clinical Excellence, my main man, Dustin Jones. There it is. I want to make sure I'm getting the right one. I know a couple of Dustins. Okay, Dustin Jones. So they have their Hump Day Hustling, which is their Wednesday email that comes out every week. This is really good. If you haven't signed up for this, I encourage you to hop on there and check that out. This was maybe 2 weeks ago. They brought out one, as you can see on screen here, a case for the barbell. The most important piece of equipment in the gym, I don't know. So you click on that, it takes you to this page, gives us the date. It did not tell us who wrote this article, so I wanted to give credit to whomever it was, but they didn't give us a name. So someone from the Institute of Clinical Excellence, ICE, if you will, wrote this article. Okay, so let's dive into it here a little bit, because I'm not anti-barbell by any means. I just can't really make a huge argument for why I would want to use them over other implements unless I was training an individual for a sport that included a barbell, like Olympic lifting or powerlifting. Outside of that, I have a lot better options than what the barbell provides and offers. Specifically working with older populations, that's so much more efficient to use other tools. So kind of looking at that and discussing this is where this particular topic kind of came in, and it was a little bit intriguing for me to look at this and go, I wonder what they mean. So looking deeper into it, you can properly load everyone with a barbell. When they kind of dove into this a little bit, we're looking at the idea, no matter what capacity you're trying to build, they won't likely hit a ceiling of load with the barbell that the barbell has to offer. Basically, they can, you can kind of continue to make things harder. Like you can, from the lightest of light, a 15-pound aluminum barbell, all the way up to 1,000 pounds or more, if your people are able to do it, you can continue to simply load it. And I would agree. I think that is a proper statement. When we look at it, is it the most efficient tool to use for that individual? That's where a case by case is really going to vary and it's going to change. And I think that's where a lot of discussion would then be made. But in particular to this one specific point, yeah, I mean, you can get to a point where a kettlebell is just too big for someone to manage. They can lift more weight, they just can't handle such a large, odd shaped object, from one hand to the next, or a sandbag or a sandbell. Like at some point, the implements just get too big and awkward to handle. The barbell can be loaded really efficiently and balanced and manipulated pretty much the same way every single time. So yeah, I get that. Okay, I think that's a good one. They do kind of bring in examples of utilizing landmines and how you can use the bar to do a single arm press on a landmine, but then you can stand over the top of it and use it to perform a hinged row or a bent over row. And again, with different weighted implements, from your brand new rookie 80-year-old client who can barely move 15 pounds of aluminum, all the way up to your high-level experts. So I would say point number one, I agree. I think that's pretty accurate. Number two, you can mimic real life through these exercises. Everyday life requires movement and mass and free space. This is where the world of expensive Cybex and Smith machines can really fail your clients. I completely agree with this one as well. I love the idea that the bar can be manipulated and moved through space however you like. However, the bar is a single implement, okay? And a lot of the things that we will move through our day are not single implements. They're multiple implements. You'll carry 2 bags of groceries or 2 cans of paint or whatever it is, or it's one implement, but it's non-rigid, okay? A non-rigid implement versus a strict rigid barbell, much easier to manipulate a rigid, strict bar, knowing where it's going to counter, where it's going to bend, where the lever is going to break in the midpoint, and how to accelerate it and slow it down, torque production, if you will. That's very, very easy to understand and to manipulate and to work with. Where a implement that is not so rigid, say a sandbag or some of these bars that will bend or warp a little bit and have a lot of play to them, much more difficult to manipulate, let alone 2 implements, 2 dumbbells, 2 kettlebells, etc. So when we're looking at it in those terms, I would say 50-50, pretty close. I mean, it's definitely a more real life movement pattern than a machine is. And I just had two kind of family friends that were here 2 weeks ago talking about this a little bit, how a lot of the current training that they're doing utilizes a lot of machine work. And I said, hey, people hear me talk and they think that I'm anti-machine, and I'm not. I think that a machine has its place in our industry for sure. I think you get folks that are either in a position due to a physical limitation or a disability, right? And or they're severely undertrained, like sarcopenia to the umpteenth division, okay? That they need a starting point because manipulating just their body weight around right now is a challenge. So asking them to stabilize a load and move it through a space, like a simple curl to an overhead press, may be extremely difficult. But if I put them on a guided machine and allow them to perform the curls, and then I put them on another machine and they can do the overhead press, then I can achieve that same success and same movement pattern and same muscle activation, but it's guided, right? It's not my entire body and the joints and my core and the coordination. All of this is not having to do really what it would do in real life, simply by sitting down, parking my elbows on a pad, and performing elbow flexion, elbow extension to do a seated preacher bicep curl, okay? Now, will I start at a level where that's what I need? Absolutely. And after 2 weeks to 4 months or whatever that number is, do I want to graduate away from that and move on to something else? I personally feel yes. Now, this isn't talking to bodybuilders who are trying to, specifically target small muscle groups or just targeted muscle groups, let alone big or small, okay? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about people prehabbing or rehabilitating injury. I'm now talking about people who are capable, they're able, they're older, and their target, let's say older, 35 and up, okay? Their target is, I just want to get stronger for life. Whatever real life is throwing at me now, let's go mimic real life movement patterns like a squat to a high pull, a push press, a lunge with a row, a step up with a carry, right? Like something holding load while we do our step ups. Something that's going to mimic real life movement patterns so I can practice being good at those. Okay, now there was a really good research study that looked at the leg press, the quad extension, and the hamstring curl. Taking those 3 lifts, maximizing the ability on all of those, meaning that whatever the client's or the participant's opening 10 rep max was, they trained for 12 weeks and they had 30 or 40% improvements. I mean, people improved, I don't remember the exact numbers, but they improved astronomically. From untrained to 3 months training, their numbers went through the roof. These individuals could not perform a half kneeling lunge, meaning go down to a knee, shut off your muscles, re-engage and come up. They couldn't do it beforehand and they couldn't do it after, okay? Just because they improved their muscular strength in those joints, in those musculatures, in those muscle groups and movement patterns, doesn't mean that they could tie it all together and perform a more difficult, more coordinated movement pattern like a lunge to a half kneeling position and then back up, okay? So it really kind of drives home like, yeah, I can make those muscles stronger, but will it help me do real life movement patterns? Not necessarily, okay? It'll definitely help me overcome a physical limitation. It'll definitely help me, improve in certain areas via asymmetries in my performance, but also, what is the word I'm looking for? When we're looking at the musculature and trying to find symmetry, there we go. Trying to find symmetry in the muscle. If I have one bicep that's bigger than the other, or shoulder, machines can definitely help with that. Bodybuilders train on selectorized cable pulling machines, all these very often. I think they have their place. But again, most folks, we're gonna get to a point where I think you're gonna get greater return manipulating implements in space. Barbell is definitely one of those. It's a very difficult implement, in my opinion, to do that with, okay? You have many options, specifically looking at the shoulder, where a pronated grip on a barbell is extremely difficult, okay? You have a preset height, unless your gym is really well equipped. I think the radius of a plate is, I want to say 13.5, maybe it's 18.5 all the way across, and it's 7.34, something along those lines, okay? Whatever that preset height is of the bar, that's a height that now everybody has to pull from. If they're 6'4" or if they're 5'4", everybody's got to pull from the same height, unless we're adjusting heights, which then requires more equipment, okay? My point is if you have shoulder issues, lower back issues, hip issues, loading barbells and working with barbells can be a big challenge. Where simple manipulations of neutral grip training via, say, a hex bar, okay, angle 90 handles that are attached to the bar, all those things can make life a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot more comfortable for you to do your lifts with, right? So manipulating even the barbell via some different grips and different angles, different heights to pull from would be even more beneficial. But again, I still think kettlebells, dumbbells, fat bells, sandbags, working with different implements in different spaces is going to help you really, really get strong, okay? Continuing on from here, we're looking at excellent looks different, they say. Having a room full of machines, like at Planet Fitness in 2004, just doesn't fire up the inspiration engines. When patients walk in and see legit strength equipment, conditioning equipment, it shifts their expectation about where this is all going, namely towards the target that blows their baseline out of the water. Okay, it looks athletic, it encourages an athletic environment. You walk into a gym and you see a whole bunch of purple and gold machines all in a row. There's hardly any noise. The music is very, very low. There's TVs everywhere. Everyone has headphones on. No one's talking to anyone else. People are stuck on their little hamster wheel, just treading over and over and over again. And then you look into another facility. It's very social. There's weights everywhere. It's going to speak to different folks. But if your mindset is, I'm here to improve my performance, I'm here to train and to be part of a community that's going to engage with each other, if I'm here to challenge myself and push myself to new limits and new heights, be it you're 13, you're 33, you're 83, okay? I feel like a training environment that looks like the one that's behind me, though this is my home and my home garage gym that is then converted into this, speaks a certain language where when older pops sometimes come in here, they go, am I in the right place? Where are the chairs? Where are the machines? And I'm like, yeah, we don't do that. And we have to go through this whole explanation, right? So understanding that kind of experience, knowing that simply the equipment in the space speaks volumes to what type of coach you are, what type of training is going to go on in this place. There's a lot to that. There's a lot to how clean the facility is, how organized it is, how consistent it looks like this every time you come in there. Someone cares about this place, okay? You can eat off the floor in my gym. Like, it is impeccably clean majority of the time, right? I just got back from a trip and I'm upset about the floor. Even text my clients this morning to tell them, please forgive me with the floor. Most of them walk in, they don't even notice it, okay? Nobody notices it except me because I hold this standard. And we have that same feel for every facility you go into. If the individuals in the facility take care of it, treat it like it's coveted, like it's an environment where the equipment matters, the people inside it matter, then they're going to feel like they matter. But if it's this environment where everybody's separated, everybody's in their own world, nothing really matters, the machines aren't very athletic, not very dynamic training, what are we going to feel then? Okay? Again, I'm not dumping on these other ways. I'm just saying, what do I prefer and what do I think most people would benefit from? I think you're going to benefit more from a facility that looks like this than your purple judgment-free zones, okay? And our last one here, because we, okay, need to use the equipment. So considering number 4, there's an important bonus part showcasing the importance of barbell physical therapy, ICE. Physio has championed leading this from the front for many years. This is something that they teach. They have, if you watch their videos, all their clients will deadlift. They have clients that are back squatting. They have clients that are overhead pressing, okay? They believe in the barbell. Plenty of people do. Lots of people use them. I used to use them. I've just found that my body responds better to not utilizing them all that often, and I've found ways to manipulate different kettlebells, dumbbells, fat bells, other implements to benefit me. There's many different ways to get people fit. Many, many ways. And these are tools that can be utilized. So do I agree with them on all 4 of these points? Absolutely, across the board. I think it's a great article. I think it's a very good way to think about the use of a specific tool, but also utilizing, at no point do they ever say that this is the only tool that should be used, that our strategy and our philosophy is the only way. They're just showcasing like, hey, this isn't something that you should be afraid of. And if I had 75-year-old clients with really good healthy shoulders, with really good healthy hips that could benefit and do barbell work, then I'd have them do it, right? But the folks that I am getting, people that come to me, they have major physical limitations. They're coming with severe injuries where they cannot get their arms over their head. They cannot squat to parallel. We're just a different type of environment working on different strategies in different ways, different goals. different philosophies, different strategies to get them to these levels. I'm going to use different tools to achieve that. But do I agree with these? I think this is a great article and a great way to think about it. I really like what they're doing over there at ICE. One more time, let me pop back to here. The Institute of Clinical Excellence. Dustin Jones, my friend over there, I saw him speak a couple of years ago at an event. I absolutely loved it. I thought he was fantastic. And I was very inspired by the way that he was showcasing videos of older populations, older adults, lifting and training the same way that I do with my clients. Yeah, any other comments, questions, hit me up down below. If not, please continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. Please subscribe the channel down below. Share with your friends. Like, leave a comment, anything like that. Help us grow the channel. We really do appreciate it. Much love to all of you. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.